Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RacingBrick and here is the latest Icons vehicle with me, the 10337 Lamborghini Countach 5000 Quattrovalvole. I'm almost certain I'm messing this name up, so I will stick with QV like everyone else. The Lamborghini Countach is a true icon of my childhood. It was the star of many movies and I'm sure many of you had a poster of it on your wall. This set is eagerly awaited and the bar is set high as several very talented mock designers have already built this car in a similar scale, so I can't wait to see what the official release will show us. I also had the opportunity to speak with the designer himself, so you can expect some interesting and potentially very disturbing secrets that I will share with you later in the video. Personally, I was very disappointed when I heard this, but I won't spoil it for you. Fun fact, 70% of you who watch my videos haven't subscribed yet, so hit the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications, because I'm sure you won't want to miss the upcoming LEGO content around here. The box has the usual black 18+ design. The white car stands out against the black background with the red glow and looks pretty classy. The back shows the dimensions, the iconic scissor doors in action, a few more details and features, and the original car in front of the Lamborghini factory, I assume. The set has 1,506 pieces, it is priced at €180 or dollars, and it will be available from the 1st of July for LEGO insiders. You can find all the local prices and other details at the link below and in the pinned comment. Now let's see what's inside. The box has a new opening style, you have to cut a lot of tapes all around and then the top can be removed. It is well packed, we have paper bags and a few other things inside. So, 11 numbered paper bags, a plastic bag with frames and 2 tires, another 4 loose tires, okay now it's getting interesting, and an envelope. This one looks funny, I swear I thought someone had used it as a tray for their morning coffee at the factory. Luckily there are no stains on the manual inside, and apparently there is no sticker sheet either, hooray! In the manual we find the original car from a different angle in the same location, a little history lesson of the Countach highlighting the perfect proportions, we'll have to come back to that later, then a nice timeline with all the different models from the prototype to the revival edition unveiled in 2021, then a few words from the designer Sven Franick, who says that many new parts and advanced building techniques have been developed for the set. I can't wait to see those. And that's it, the build begins. Here's the parts list if you are interested. Now let's start building. So, the process begins with a classic Technic studded frame, a bit of gold here and there, and then this Technic assembly becomes the solid rear axle. We extend the base with even more frame pieces, then the rear axle support is reinforced here with cross axles. This is the build at the end of bag 1. In phase 2, we had lots of brackets and plates to the sides, then partially cover them with smooth surfaces. The center tunnel is built sideways, and we have the first printed element representing some controls. We had the gear shifter, then here comes another mostly Technic assembly with additional rubber bands, which is part of the door opening mechanism. In bag 3, we start to build the front part. Again, we have quite a few Technic components for the front axle and even more to build part of the steering system. The assembly is attached to the main build, and here is something interesting. Apparently a very simple linkage is responsible for the steering, no gears are used. This solution was chosen to save space. Here is the steering wheel with the Lamborghini logo printed on it, and this is our build at the end of bag 3. After some details and also massive standard bricks at the rear, it's time to assemble the nice dark red seats that were built sideways. This was phase 4. It's time to start building the doors, which include the front curved section of the famous Countach with the black interior. Here's a tricky little snot sandwich with a Technic half pin. We cover the interior and then attach it to the body, but the mechanism isn't finished yet. Some gaps are filled in, and to my surprise this appears to be the complete door mechanism. There is a single hollow stud connection at the back, and the front part with the pin and rubber band moves just a tiny bit when it's locked and then goes back down when it's opened. Well, at least at this point, I'm sure when we add more body panels, this will certainly have to change. In phase 6, we continue building towards the rear. This assembly is the core of the engine. The 3x1 plate helps place these closed with clip pieces, 6 on each side, to simulate the structure of the V12 engine. The first version had sausages, just like the Defender's engine, but I like this solution better. Adding more details like whips and macaroni cubes, and this is how it is installed longitudinally, hence the name LP, which stands for rear longitudinal in English. Some time ago we added these yellow Technic bricks. They are supported by a pin and sit at a slight angle on those handsets. Now it's time to mount this assembly on them, also at this angle. It's a pretty cool building technique. This is the end of phase 6. Here are some colorful assemblies, most of course will not be visible. This assembly has a few tricky snot connections here and there, and also a white 1x2 tile printed all in black. This one comes here. This is part of the roof that connects to the angled rear section, and this little assembly snaps into place here at the end of stage 7. We start building the dashboard, and then comes this printed brick with all the gauges, oil pressure in the center, very important. A tiny detail, but the smaller ones on the sides like the battery voltage or the water temperature seem to be in a different order than on the reference photos I found. We finish off the dashboard with these double slopes, and I'm really not sure why these are used here. This section is supposed to be flat. The build continues to the front. Here are the headlights on hinges, but despite these parts, unfortunately these aren't the pop-up headlights, they are going to be pretty fixed. The body continues over the front wheels, and apparently some extra tricks are needed here to make the door opening mechanism work smoothly. I like how these tiny brackets can form a fairly complex assembly that has the stud connections in the required places. Like here when you turn the slope upside down. The front wheel arches are formed with these two different curved tiles attached this way, and with this reinforcement we can now test the door opening mechanism to see it in action. On the other side it's probably more visible how the rubber band holds it in place. The last assembly here has several printed elements, one in the center with the Lamborghini badge, and it goes here. This is the end of bag 8. The next sub-build uses a lot of brackets, and it's going to be a pretty ingenious solution with all those clips. The top ones are clicked in here, and then we have to fold them over and attach the bottom ones, very cool geometry. The next assembly has clever hinges built with Technic elements. This is the trunk cover, and it works very well. Here's another complicated block with clips and studs in different directions. This one clips here, and we have one for the other side. The part for the windshield is the same one that was used in the DeLorean, but in the new trans black color and with additional plastic wrap for protection, which is nice to see. The windshield fits very well in place. We have a few extra tiles to cover those gaps. End of phase 9. We continue with some details, and now it's time for the half pin in the door to make sense, because the frame of the door is connected to it. Another cool solution. We add the 4 angled exhaust pipes. One of the pins on this assembly is a plate higher than the other, just like the pinholes on the body, making this rear section nice and angled. The design of the iconic rear lights is quite tricky. These new slopes are used, and they are clicked in with these transparent clip parts. The license plate doesn't have a reference or hidden Easter egg this time. This was requested by Lamborghini. A strange fact, but the set completely lacks Easter eggs or personal references. A quick shift with those Technic bricks to be able to mount this assembly with the printed labels. The new slope elements are also used in this area, and here are the supports for the wing. In the final stage we cover the section above the rear wheels, attached with clips of course, as it is angled like everything else on this car. This is the engine cover. I really like how that stud is covered by the corner piece, it snaps into place nicely. Now it's time to build the massive rear wheel arches. In addition to the 5x5 corner slope piece, we now have a new 4x4 version. A funny mistake in the instructions, this page incorrectly refers to the rear wing. Here is the massive rear wing, but this one does not have new parts, and it was only used for decoration on the real car. We are almost done. Here are the wheels, exactly 6 of them. One of the main complaints at the reveal, some people jokingly call this car a dually Lamborghini truck. We need to assemble the narrow ones first and fit them at the back, then comes the brand new rim. It's actually a quite clever design. Both sides simulate the deep dish rims of the Countach with a convex surface, and it also has an added trick I can show you once they are mounted. At the back it fits nicely next to the narrow one, and at the front the shifted center of the rim means it has the pivot point in the middle of the wheel, a realistic and respected design choice. The dual wheel idea came from Mike's psyche. Other designers thought it was a bit crazy, but eventually they grew to like the concept as it fits into the LEGO system and allowed for the double-sided rim solution. The final pieces are the rearview mirrors and the build is finished. So here is our completed car, and I have to say it looks pretty cool. The 5000 QV is probably the most recognizable version of the Countach, so it was a good model choice. The scale is about 1:12. The Countach is a pretty small car in real life, not much longer than 4 meters. This means that it is unfortunately much bigger than one of the best classic creator expert cars, the Ferrari F40. But it is more or less in scale with the Porsche 911 and the DeLorean as well. and with the Fiat 500 and the Mini, but they are not necessarily in the same league. And of course there's the smaller brother, the Speed Champions variant. I think this model has a respectable amount of detail given the size difference, and they look pretty cool together. But you might be wondering why exactly the same color scheme. The design team tried many variations. Some colors like silver are not easy to replicate with Lego bricks, others like yellow look too much like a toy according to Sven, which is kind of ironic since this is a building block toy after all, so in accordance with the license partner they settled with white. And here's my biggest disappointment to share with you. Sven told us he has a black version with gold rims on his desk. Can you imagine that? I tried to recreate it with Photoshop, how cool would that be? I'm really sad that we didn't get this version. Another thing that sets this set apart from previous ones like the DeLorean, the Porsche or the Camaro, it has no extra build options. During the development process there was a brief consideration of adding an earlier model variant without fender flares, but in the end that seemed like too much complexity for not much change, so the idea was dropped. Now let's recap the functions. We have steering, although the steering wheel barely turns because of the linkage used. We have the scissor doors, this function works pretty well. The frunk opens, which is pretty cool. The engine cover also opens to reveal the V12 engine. There are two main features I missed. The pop-up headlights at the front of course, which many of you complained about. As Sven said, they considered a few solutions, but in the end they decided to leave this feature out due to space constraints and structural reasons. Well, can't wait to see the first mods for this. The other one is the trunk, which was supposed to be here at the back under the wing, opening forward, but that was also left out for structural reasons I think. Now would come the discussion about the accuracy and all the exterior and interior details, the comparison with the custom builds, a closer look at the price, but I decided to leave that for a separate video to be able to explore the topic in detail. Please let me know what you think about the set so far, the building techniques, the functions. Let's talk about it in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video then please give it a thumbs up, and I hope to have a surprise for the next episode for an even better comparison, so please make sure you subscribe with notifications. See you next time, bye bye.